two, one. Hey, everybody, this is Victor. I am here with Preston. We're going to be talking about his real estate journey, and we're going to be talking about how Preston went from a real estate beginner to a 16-unit apartment complex under contract to buy. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. This is, super cool to see your transformation, to see you on your journey. I think we've been working together like a month or a little less than a month, but it's been a
Like
very
that, yeah.
short duration. You've been killing it. You already have this, 16-unit apartment, which we'll get into, which we'll talk about for sure. But before we get into it, like, what's your background?
Man, so my background is I've always loved the idea of real estate, right? And having the idea of having this massive real estate portfolio has been a huge thing I've dreamed about for years. But I've always figured out how to get in my own way. And I think we'll get into it in a lot of this call, man. But there's a lot of stuff that through the past month and a half I've been able to overcome. And
Mhm.
it's been a huge deal breaker and not deal changer for me to be able to overcome a lot of that stuff and just being intertwined with folks that are intelligent and on the same path as I am has been a huge game changer for me. So I've always loved the idea of it, but I've never been able to actually put the steps forward to make it happen, to
Mhm.
get involved with folks that help you get out of your own way, so to speak. So
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing that I teach. Like, how long were you thinking about getting into real estate before actually like making the leap and making as far as you have?
man, so I started out wholesaling deals, probably I think it was 2017. I
Okay.
started wholesaling deals, got into wholesaling, had a partner in the business, and we kind of fell out, man. And I got kind of out of it. So could focus a little bit more on the W-2 job and growing a career because I thought that was probably what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I was made out for this entrepreneurial world, and I've always loved it. I always said I loved it. Talked a mean game, and never been able to really back it up with actual action. And so, here we are with a 16-unit deal under contract, and I'm finally getting out of my own way. So,
Mhm.
it's a lot. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Before we met, what were some of the things like you struggled with on like probably more on the flipping side, that you've learned with me?
The flipping side, running numbers, being
Yep.
confident in numbers,
Hmm.
and that is transparent over in this deal as well. Just being confident in the offer that you make. So when you go to, and you're in a motivated seller, even in the wholesaling back in 17, I was not exactly confident in numbers. I was given the offers I'm making. I was like, I think this is right. This
Hmm.
sounds good. But, working with you and getting, going through the course and a training, I've been able to get a lot more confident in my numbers. And a lot of my numbers are, pretty, from just learning through the content have been very spot on accurate when you talk to contractors and stuff like that, some of the deals. So, just being able to submit confident offer on a property has been huge for me because now you got confidence going to look at deals.
Hmm.
So whenever you go to look at a deal, you're not sure if the numbers, you're not like, man, this is like a super gray, cloudy area in this house. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what this stuff costs. It's like, I don't even want to go in here. But if you go in there with this bag of tools to say, look, I know what this costs. I know what flooring
Hmm.
costs now. I know what I can figure out all this stuff. And that's a lot of stuff that nobody really tells you. And if you work, say, a W-2 job and you're not able to do this full time in contracting, you don't figure that stuff out. And a lot of folks, lose money on a lot of deals by going through the school of hard knocks on some of this
Hmm.
stuff. But man, when I got the repair sheet from you, dude, I was like, that changed my world. I was like, man, I know what this costs. I know what this costs. And it starts your mindset to start really thinking about, it gets you a starting point and then you like go a step further. Just, now you start Googling stuff and like, it gave me another level of confidence to be able to go in and tackle stuff. So it's been big. That's been a big confidence booster for me. And just going through like the lead gen process
Hmm.
of some of the stuff that I've learned over the past month has been huge. Stuff that doesn't even cost money. It's like this stuff is out there for the taking. You just got to put the work in and do it. So that's been a huge thing for me as well. So I think there's a lot of stuff that I've learned that's very doable without having a whole lot invested.
Hmm.
That's been a massive game changer for me, just on a confidence level. and that just, you know, your confidence here just grows exponentially that way, you know, to tackling stuff that you thought you might not can do, but now you kind of have an idea of this thing and you learn some more and it just grows from there. So it's been an awesome month.
No, that's good to hear, especially like the confidence thing. Like I'm a huge proponent of mindset, and it's like if you don't have the right mindset and the foundation, like you're not gonna be successful. And you, I mean, you had the framework and just like giving you a little more confidence, especially like running numbers, just like you said, because the devil's in the details or devil's in the numbers, if you want to put it that way. Like if
That's
you
right.
overestimate what underestimate what you need to put into it, overestimate what you can sell it for. I mean, you might lose money on your first deal, but you going into it, I know we've gone back and forth on some deals. Like you sent me a deal like, hey, this is what you got for repair estimate. This is what I got. And just refining your numbers over time. I mean, that makes a huge difference for sure. That makes a huge
For sure. It's been a game changer for me. So.
Mhm. No, that's fantastic. I also want to bring up something you mentioned. I think it was like the second day after you joined my program. Do you remember what you told me? Do you remember what you said?
I've been out the top of my head. I've told you a bunch.
You did tell me a bunch, but you were saying like, hey, this is paid for itself in like the first 2 days.
Oh,
Remember that?
man. Yeah. So the small investment to get involved with Viktor, has been and it has paid for itself for me. And I know it will in the future, like hand over fist, because it's been incredible to just learn have learned if somebody's doing it. There's so many people like gurus, and I spend a lot of money on guru courses. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not too proud to admit it. You just want success. You want somebody to teach you, but nobody, they give you a 10,000-foot overview. Nobody gives you the actual like, hey man, let's start here. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And everybody's like, banded signs, send out letters, and nobody really gives you the finite details of. There is no like, hey man, this is what this costs. There's no repair estimate knowledge. I mean, it's just a 10,000-foot overview. And whenever I got some of the stuff that's in some of the content, and it changed, it will pay for itself hand over fist the rest of my life. The rest of my life. I mean, seriously.
Well, cool. No, I appreciate it. I remember you told me that. I just want to bring it up because it really stuck out to me. It stood out to me. Excuse me. It stood out to me. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad you got the value out of it. And yeah,
I still look at some of the stuff and I'm like, man, this is awesome. I love this. And I just put it down and I just start calculating numbers off of it because I've never had that. Like nobody. You don't learn that kind of stuff unless you have years of experience. So being able to just chop the years of experience in half and look directly at this piece of paper and get an idea of what you're looking at you just can't beat it.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's super helpful. It gives you confidence. You're getting out there doing it. I'd love to like get into the details of this 16 unit deal you have under contract. Whenever you're comfortable sharing, we can talk about numbers. Don't have to talk about numbers. Whatever you're comfortable with. But yeah, I'd love to hear about this deal, like how far you are in it, what are your thoughts on it, and some of that, all that good stuff.
Yep. So I've always sold that I wanted to be a commercial family real estate investor, and I've been working at that angle for probably the past 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 3 mobile home parks under contract, and COVID hit this time last year, and the banks that actually towed the loan for the property did not want to tow the loan again for the property because of they're thinking a financial crisis is on the future. That's what they're saying. They're not doing risky investments. So I was a big mobile home park guy for the longest time, looking, I finally found some, and through searching for mobile home park deals, I've developed a lot of relationships in the commercial real estate space. Just meeting people and talking to people and networking with folks, and I've tried my best, even though I've not exactly seen a whole lot of deals in the commercial space that made a lot of sense prior to wanting to get back involved in other things. I met some folks, and and I joined another mastermind group, and now we talk about another confidence thing. I'm confident I can go out and tackle this kind of stuff, and still network and meet people. And man, I got a phone call from a guy that I actually went duck hunting with in November at our duck club, and he said, "Hey, I want you to meet a guy." So of course, I'm a sales guy by trade, so I pick the phone up, call the guy, and man, he sends me a deal, and it's this 16 unit deal, and so I sent it to another guy that I met through networking, and he said, "Man, this is a freaking deal, dude. We got to go after this." So we underwrite the deal and see that the deal makes sense, and make an offer and get under the contract, and we're about, let's say 5 days into our due diligence process. We've got all the financial statements in, and everything looks very decent. We've got lending lined up, and we have our final inspection of the property next Thursday at 9:30.
Cool.
So after that, we got a 30-day due diligence period, shorted from 60. We usually like to get 60. They just want to do 30. That's fine. They don't take us but 2 weeks to figure out what we want anyway. If they got the documents. So we're do that Thursday, man. All we got left to do is get lending for the deal, and then we'll hopefully be able to close pretty soon. So
cool.
Yeah, man.
Exciting stuff. What are some of the things you've learned through this process? Because I know this is a first for you. So what are some of the things that you've learned?
Oh man, how to get them on way, like how to actually lean in, and and this whole process for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, Victor, has been completely uncomfortable. Everybody I've heard it a lot. They get that dopamine high of saying I'm chasing commercial family deals, right? So they make the phone calls, do the networking, whatever, and then they find one, and they're like, "All right, I got one."
Now what?
Holy crap, I got one. You know what I mean? Like, what do I do? And at that point, the deal, and that's actually how we got this deal. And I didn't bring that up, is people were like, they were networking, calling this guy, and they're like, "Hey man, I got this deal for you." And they got under contract, and that was it. Like, they never did anything else. So I told Alex, the broker for the deal, I was like, "Man, they just got the dopamine high." Young folks, I'm fairly young too. They just got the dopamine high of saying, "Man, I got to do it under contract." But so when you get that deal under contract, you got to actually go through what it takes to get the deal closed. That's a whole nother section of like, what the heck is going on, So I've had to learn a lot, man, personally, how to properly underwrite a deal, how to search for partners, how to potentially pitch it to investors, how to even down to fill in every bank's personal financial statement is completely different. And there's a lot of that stuff that, like, it's for me, the past couple of days I've been just drinking, trying to get a sip of water through a fire hydrant. So it's like, man, I'm just learning all this stuff at one time, and it's been a heck of a journey over the past couple of days. And learning all about a lot of the stuff. I've been through courses on multifamily, but it never really sets in until you actually, like, holy crap, I've got to go through this process. So that's when you're like, and then it starts coming to you. You're like, oh, I remember that. Okay. And I'm the kind of guy, you can teach me 100 million things, so like tell me it to me, but until I do it myself, I'm a hands-on learner. I've got to go through it. If I go through it once or twice, I'm good. I can sit there and like learn and imagine stuff all day long, but I've got to physically do it myself to learn it and know it. So that's been probably kind of cool. It's kind of, I have this background, like a little bit of knowledge, and I can go through it and learn so much, but it's been an awesome journey, man.
No, that's awesome. And that's a good way to put it, like learning from a fire hydrant. There's some stuff I can do, not as well versed in the multifamily, but I know the, single family. So I have a sense of kind of what you're going through, but it's, that's a good way to put it. You're learning from a fire hydrant, for the next time, which is probably going to be sooner than you think. Like, I know what to do next time. I have a more structured process. It's less of a, okay, now what? You take a step. Okay, now what? Take a step. It's more like, okay, step 1, 2, 3, and then you're on the right
More
path.
confidence, man. More confidence.
More confidence. Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned something. I know I mostly teach the flipping. This is multifamily. I'm still helping out a little bit, maybe more on the mindset side versus on like the multifamily specifics and figure out net income, all that stuff. You mentioned something to me before we started that I wanted to include here. You're talking about like how flipping is going to help you with your like multifamily and passive income. I'd love if you could like share your thoughts there.
So, I've always had the vision of having like the full service real estate company, right? The vertically integrated business of this empire that I want to build. And because I've got passions in all of it. I love working with my hands. So I want a contracting business. I have an artsy side. So I love fixing and flipping. And I love the idea of, hey man, my money's going to be in my bank account every single month, no matter what I do. So I love the passive side, right? So, it's through this process of tackling this multifamily project, I call it, and it's been a heck of a project, but I've ultimately realized how important it is to have capital. And that has really made me, and I had a conversation with my wife last night about just how important it is to be in the fixing and flipping space, because there's nothing, there's nowhere that you can work doing rehabs that will pay you. There's nowhere you can work in a W-2 that will pay you like doing a rehab on a property.
Yeah.
And I don't, and I could be wrong, and I'd love to find that career path, trust me, but there's nowhere that you can put in, the amount of work that it takes. And I guess if you do it right, that it takes to do a rehab, will pay you like it would in the amount of time as there's not a job that can do that. You're not going to make $40,000 in 2 months of a job. I'm sorry, just not, unless it's a really good job. You might, I don't know, but your day-to-day American might not. But there's nowhere that you can do that, and at the volume that you can do it and fix and flip it. And it's really made me realize that how important it is to hone in on the fix and flipping business to grow the passive business. So it's definitely opened my eyes to that big time, because there's a point you're like, man, do I want to do commercial? Do I want to do single family? But it's really made me realize that capital is a big deal. You go from taking a small chunk of a deal with no capital to a life-changing portion of a deal with a lot of capital. So
no, that's huge.
sure.
I really like the model, like do a flip, do a rental, do a flip, do a rental. And then use that capital you generate from the flip, and you put that into the rental, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
You need to put in X, especially with this multifamily deal. You need to put in X. You do 3, 4, whatever, 5 flips. Get that, and then you have a 16-unit apartment or whatever the numbers are. But the point is, like, it really. And then how many 16-unit apartments does it take to have passive income that replaces your full income currently in the W-2? And you'll get there pretty quick. You'll be surprised. It happens quicker than you think. But just how to generate that capital, and flipping is a great answer to that problem.
That's the ticket, man. That's my ticket. I don't know if it's everybody's ticket, but that's where I'm headed. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, in that thread, like, would you recommend others work with me as well?
For sure. So man, and I won't get the details of the content, but man, once you dive into the content of some of the courses, it is absolutely life-changing. And I'm not being a sales guy. I'm just being real, straight up. Like, there is so much in there that will change your life. There's some stuff in there that I know has allowed me to get to where I'm at in a short amount of time, that I don't know that I'd have been able to achieve without doing certain steps. It has been absolutely life-changing for me. Like, helps you get out of your own direction, like your own way, gives you confidence more than you'll ever know. Because I felt confident that I knew what I was doing, but there's a voice inside your head that like a self-limiting belief, like, can I really do this? And that has stopped me from probably achieving a lot of things. Straight up, black and white. It has been a big part of my own problem, is get out of my own direction, get out of my own way. And going through some of the courses, man, of I think day 2. We talked about like day 2, and I was like, man, this is completely life-changing. And it is. So, and I would recommend anybody do it. I'd do it again for sure.
No, I appreciate it. It's the stuff, like the mindset stuff, that's worked for me is what I pass on to you guys, and it's worked for me. It worked for other students. It's worked for you too. And that stuff, that stuff is so powerful. So,
and then to add to that too, there's not very many people, unless you join your community of folks, and that's a big thing about this too, is like, there's not very many people in your day-to-day life, family, friends, whatever, that are like truly going to help you and support you 110%, and having access to somebody that you can ask questions to and be able. I'm just telling you what's been a big change for me. Hey Victor, what do you think about this? Man, this is what I would do, and I've experienced this in the past. And it gives you a confidence level. I mean, somebody speaking from somebody of experience, because in your area, like your local market, you're dealing with competitors. They're not going to give you a whole lot of advice. But having somebody that has given you genuine advice has been a big deal for me too. So wanted to add that.
No, it's helpful because you have access to me. Like, anytime you have a question, you can ask me a question, and it's really cool. I think it's a good way. And it's a good way for like me to interact with you too, because if we had to, it's just a good way for me, like, to keep in touch, know where you're at, know like how much progress you're making. So it's super valuable for me too. So I'm glad to hear it's valuable for you too, with regards to like anytime you have a question, you know who to ask and what to ask and how to, you get a quick answer too.
For sure. For
Um,
sure.
yeah. And then with that thread in mind, like why should someone listening now take action?
Just get out of your own way. If that's one thing that like, I've heard it a million times on a podcast. I heard it a million times in books, like, just believe in yourself, believe anything's possible if you just put in the work and surround yourself with the right people. I can look back and I have so much regret of just not doing what I knew I should have done in the first place. But surround yourself with good people and, do the right things and just get out of your own way. Like that's the biggest thing. Like just take action, ready, fire, aim. Like don't overanalyze the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm the perfect example. I didn't know, I've learned so much in the past 15 days. I've studied this crap for like 20, so it feels like months. But like I knew I wanted a commercial deal, but I really didn't know what I was going to do when I got one. But I got one and I was like, all right, what next? So, like don't overanalyze the situation. Just get out there and take big action and it'll all come together. And then having the right people to bounce ideas off of and get knowledge from is massive in the process too. So good people, don't overanalyze it. Get out there and make it happen. That's it's been a game changer for me.
That's huge. I think that's great advice. That's great advice for everyone listening. But I really appreciate you doing this. It's been super helpful. Helpful for me just to better to get to know where you're coming from, see your success in such a short amount of time. Knocking out or getting a 16-unit complex in like about a month working with me is huge. And then like you've learned a lot and you've like gone out there and talked offers. We didn't really talk about that. Like you've gone out there and like made a lot of progress on flipping. But yeah, no, it's been really cool working with you so far. I'm looking forward to the next month, next year, next 5 years, all that good stuff for sure. But
Awesome.
Any final thoughts as we wrap up here?
No, man. I think I put it all out there, man. Just get out of your own way. Surround yourself with good people. That's a big thing. That's huge. And you'll be thankful you did it, 6 months down there, 6 months, 12 months down the road when it compounds into something you've never dreamed of. So.
Spot on. Perfect. Well, again, appreciate you doing this. This has been super helpful. And yeah, I'm excited to help you continue on your flipping journey.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Victor.